team that Stamkos left after many, many years, the Tampa Bay Lightning. They add Jake Guentzel, and they overhaul their roster as well. First, Guentzel, they traded Carolina a third-round pick to get his negotiating rights. Always a good sign. Then they signed him to a 7-year, $63 million deal. They make a trade with Utah, sending Mikhail Sergachev there for Connor Geekie, J.J. Moser, and a 2025 second-round pick and a seventh-round pick in this year's draft. And then they trade out Tanner Jeannot to L.A. For a 2025 second-round pick and pick 118 in the most recent draft. And then today they extended Victor Hedman 4 years, $32 million. Just mentioned that they had acquired McDonough earlier in the offseason. So they lose Stamkos. They bring Guentzel in. Sergachev was a piece to move. Moser will kind of, obviously they won't fill the void of Sergachev, but he'll take that place on the blue line. Tampa Bay is loaded up and ready to go here for another run at it for a few years.
Yeah, this is what really good general managers do, right? They're able to, and I read it in a Hockey News article, remodel this Tampa team. And sometimes when you're doing that, you have to say goodbye to some very important, very big pieces like Steven Stamkos has been for, what is it now, over a decade in Tampa. So, just
16 years if you're counting, but that's
yeah,
he's tormented Montreal.
Yeah, long time.
Yeah, so they had to do what they had to do to stay relevant in the playoff hunt. It wasn't a big last couple of seasons for them in the playoffs, and this maybe gives them a little more wiggle room to stay around. I don't know what the McDonough deal really does for them, bringing him back, but maybe he can rekindle what he did when he was there last time.
I'm having a hard time understanding. Like, I don't know if the Tampa Bay Lightning are really better or worse after all of this. I feel like it's a lot of lateral moves. Adding Jake Guentzel obviously helps your scoring. He can basically be the replacement of Steven Stamkos. Stamkos is no longer a centerman in my mind. I think he's better suited to be a winger. He's just getting up there. That's okay. Nothing wrong with it. Guentzel plays the wing. He was very productive in Pittsburgh. He was very good in Carolina as well. Now he's going to go play with Nikita Kucherov and Braden Point. I don't think that's going to be a problem. So from that standpoint, I can be okay. It's definitely a question mark to say, hey, I'll bring in Ryan McDonough, and then kind of at the expense of saying, well, if I'm going to give Jake Guentzel this amount of money, I have to free up some money. So I got to let Sergachev go. And I feel like that was a tough one to say, okay, we're going to move Sergachev out. And I get that Ryan McDonough's deal is shorter. I get what he can bring. It's fine. The Tanner Jeannot trade, to me, it just feels like Breezeball is saying, hey, we lost this because they gave up like a mess of picks for this, and it didn't work out. That was not it. So I get what Breezeball is trying to do on the run here. He's got to. I'm not going to question it because he has been to the Stanley Cup final in 3 years in a row, once upon a time, and has won 2 Stanley Cups. So, like, the blueprint is there. I think he knows how to work it. I get people not being happy with Steven Stamkos. The NHL is a business. Let's not forget that. They are in the business of winning, and sometimes you got to make those extremely difficult calls, and that is one, having to let Steven Stamkos basically walk and say, hey, man, I'm sure Stamkos had said that he was willing maybe to take a little bit less. I don't think he was going to get 8 from Tampa Bay. I'm sure he probably could have settled on 6, maybe. A lot of people were saying that Tampa Bay was offering him 3, which I think was like,
if that's what they were offering him, then yeah, see you later.
A little too low in a state with in a state with no state income tax. It's a little too low. So I understand how tough it is. I get that it's hard. There are a lot, like it's hard for him. It's hard for his family. It's hard for the fans. It's hard for everybody. It's a tough decision to make. But as a once general manager said publicly to an entire fan base, if you want loyalty, get a dog, right? Marc Bergevin. When he did not re-sign Andrei Markov, it was tough. So again, the NHL is not about loyalty. I understand some people want to do that, but this is a business first. In the same way that players are allowed to test free agency, they have no loyalty at that point. General managers have none on the other way. This is a business. This is about winning, and we'll see if Tampa Bay is a better team because of the moves that they've made.